could have been done in 2007, 2008, if let's sort of step away from the Fed as the only game in town. Were there other potential actors that might have intervened in more productive ways in 2007, 2008, and over the last 10 or 12 years, and in March 2020, and potentially today, that maybe are in a better position or have better tools at their disposal to either provide backing or support for the global Eurodollar banking system, or who can affect the real economy in ways that may create a virtuous relationship between the real economy and financial assets, instead of the destructive relationship that it seems like we've had over the last 12 or 13 years.
Well, the first problem is that nobody knows this. Is that nobody really understands what the problem was in 2007 and 2008 to begin with. And so just to catch everybody up, and I'm including central bankers in this, to catch everybody up on what actually had happened, what the crisis actually was going to take a whole lot of time to begin with. And nobody really had the time to really look at the situation and figure out what was actually going wrong and how to fix it back then. Instead, it was just, let's do a bunch of QE and hope for the best, which of course was not an effective solution as we're living in the consequences now. But over the last 15 years, you would have thought somebody would have said, okay, we didn't have time in 2009 to really figure this stuff out, but let's start figuring it out and let's use the time wisely and let's come up with a solution going forward. No, that's not been done either. Neither governments, nor central bankers, nor economists, nor anybody has done anything other than just say, let's just slap another QE on and see what happens. Even certain central banks and certain regulatory authorities, like those in Europe, for example, they have been talking about repo and collateral, SFTs, secured financing transactions, for about a decade. Was it a decade, Emil? Where they first came up with the idea that they need to investigate what banks are doing in SFTs. And here it is in 2022. They're still kind of in the initial stages of figuring that stuff out. So they say, we're aware of this collateral shortfall. We know it's really important, but we haven't really done anything about it. And you have to ask yourself why, which is a whole separate topic I don't think we need to get into, because the real relevant question is, what do we do about it now? And the answer is what Emil and I are trying to do is get people to realize how the system actually works and realize what happened 15 years ago, just getting everybody caught up to 2008 and 2009, so that we can then hope to have some prayer of understanding where we are now. And then from there, coming up with a solution. I am personally very optimistic about digital currencies and crypto. Obviously not their prices today, because I think most people have bought cryptocurrencies for the very wrong reason of thinking the Fed has printed too much money and they're going to destroy the dollar. Sorry about your commercial, but that's the reason everybody piled into cryptocurrencies, which was not exactly what happened. So they might have prevented this latest crypto winter or digital currency winter had they understood from the Eurodollar system signal that there was no massive overdoing it in terms of printing money and destroying the dollar. But that's not really the optimistic part of digital currencies, is that digital currencies are essentially at their base level an attempt to create an alternative medium of exchange for the failing Eurodollar system that is inelastic and inappropriate and doesn't work. So even if governments don't want to take the opportunity and do the job that they're supposed to do, the private market is already working on solutions. It's just they're a long way down the road. So we either have to depend upon cryptocurrencies, finding the right kind of combinations to do all the things the Eurodollar system does, which is actually possible, just not anytime soon, or we have to give some kind of government institution, central bank, whatever, to wake up and actually realize what's going on and then admit it to the public. In one sense, you can understand why, Jay Powell is not going to go on TV tomorrow and say, we don't know how to define money. And we haven't known how to define money since the 1960s. We've been lying to you for half a century. He's not going to do that. He's never going to do that. And they're never going to do it unless somebody forces them to do it, which 2008 would have been the better time to do it, but that ship has already sailed. So we're kind of stuck in this box where nobody knows what's going on. They think central bankers have done one thing, they don't do it. Central bankers will never admit to the truth to you, because how could you possibly admit this kind of a truth? Although, I mean, Ben Bernanke came pretty close the other day when he said monetary policy is 98% talk. Well, that's about right. I think it's 100% talk, but that's kind of what needs to happen. All of these things together. Or we have to hope that some cryptocurrency survives the technological infancy to create a workable Eurodollar alternative, which is down the road.